segment called Life, Love, and Business. I am your host, JASA Love, and I'm here with my handsome husband, Grinder the Trainer. And we're going to talk about life, our love, and business, just to help other people that may be going through the same situations we're going through, and just to shed some light on some things. So we just thought it would be amazing to do this with each other, since we do host the podcast Black Families Rising with the panel. So we wanted to allow you to come into our personal life so you can get to know a little bit about who we are. And so what we're going to talk about first is how do we still keep the love in our relationship? We get this question a lot during we're married. For those who didn't know, so we're married. And we get this question a lot. So I guess we can start by saying how we met, babe.
Yeah, sure. So, weirdly enough, we met at a funeral. Wow. So, it was actually my niece's funeral, who I hadn't even met. I just knew my sisters, but I hadn't met her, and she passed suddenly. She was young. How old was she? She was like 10, 13, something.
I believe
like that.
Jade was about 10.
Yeah. And so, I go to the funeral. I didn't even know if I was going to go at first, because my other two siblings, we were trying to decide which one of us was going to go. And being that I'm the oldest, and of course I knew our other sisters a little bit more, we all decided that I should be the one to go. So that's how that happened. So I go, and I meet them basically for the first time, like physically seeing them. And then I get to the house, and I see there's another person there. Didn't think about this person or nothing at first. It's just it is what it is. And so the day of the funeral, which was the next day?
Yeah, the following day.
Yeah, I saw her coming down the stairs, and I saw her legs, and I was like, okay, nice legs. And so my sister's her partner at the time was like, yeah, she is beautiful. And I'm like, what? Oh yeah, I didn't know anybody saw me, but yeah, sure. So so that happened, and I got to see how beautiful she was and whatnot. And I remember watching her the whole time while we was waiting for another person to show up so we could all leave. And so we get there to the funeral and everything, and procession will proceed. By the way, Jade, which was my niece, was also her cousin, because it was her uncle and my sister's child together.
Right.
So anyway, we there, and you know how it is at a funeral, everybody crying and everybody sad and whatnot. So then when we doing the funeral, everybody, people get up and speak and whatnot. I think it was presided over by a preacher or whatnot. And then they ask for her to get up and sing a song. And when she does, it's like my world just completely stopped when I heard her voice. And after then, I was pretty much smitten, but still didn't try to talk to her, and it was just weird. It was like after the funeral, everybody's getting ready to eat and everything, and we just ended up in the same area every time. Still never talked to each other. So that night, we was chilling with my sisters and whatnot, enjoying ourselves. And I happened to step out because I got hot and sipping a little wine or whatever, and playing some old school music, some Marvin, some Isley Brothers or whatever. And she steps out, to go smoke a little cigarette or whatever. So when she comes back in, she hears the music. She's like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. And we start kind of chatting, and then, I'm dancing actually when she walks back in, and she starts dancing towards me. And next thing you know, we start dancing together. like, okay, I'm dancing with somebody I never met. Cool, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Long story short, we hit it off. You know what I'm saying? She went back here to Gary, Indiana. I went back home to New Bern, North Carolina, and we literally started our relationship over the phone actually the day that she left, because she left before me. And I left the day after, and we've been talking ever since. And then, you know, we talked for about a year. Next thing you know, I moved up here, we were married, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's a lovely story. All of it was accurate. You didn't add anything. There was no point in me to interject. But yeah, the same. I saw you dancing, and you know, I fell in love. And you know, during the dance, you did give me a little butt grab. And I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, it was amazing, and I just felt that, you know, you were special, and that it was worth keeping this relationship for whatever it was.
Oh.
And you know, so we are now happily married for how many years, babe?
Actually going on 5.
Going on 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
That was 5 years ago. So since then we had a baby who is 2 now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna hear a lot about her and her other siblings as well during this time. So I guess to revert back to this question on how we still keep the love in our relationship, I think we both refer back to the first day we met.
Mm-hmm.
And,
definitely.
Yeah, and how we fell in love with each other, and you know, and try to keep that alive. And you know, because I think we both decided that we want to stay together for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
There's no what else we possibly want.
Right. And we both had been married prior to this.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying, with no disrespect to our other counterparts, but it just didn't work for us for whatever reason. And I had kids prior, and so did she. You know what I'm saying? So it was like we, you know, kind of been there, done that before, and we both were at the point, it's like, okay, I'm not doing this again, so if this ain't gonna work, then yeah. So, but, I mean, it was like once we got together, you know, I felt like it was, you know, ordained by the Creator, and so did she. So it was like, hey, you know, if it's ordained, then hey, let's stick this thing out. And it wasn't, you know, it's like at the time, you know, I'm dealing with Islam, you know, Muslim, she was Christian. Now we're more just dealing with spirituality and learning about the God within ourselves. But, you know, I think that's a big part of it too, is that we had a lot of the same interests. We both wanted to start our own business, you know what I'm saying? We both like to exercise and stay fit. I decided to actually make it a business. She at the time was doing insurance, so it's pretty much along the same lines. So I really think that's how we kept it together, is just we had a lot of the same interests. We listened to each other. I learned from her, she learns from me. You know, it's a give and take situation. It's not a give and give situation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So honestly, I think that's how we do it. And plus, we try to stay as spontaneous as possible in our relationship. You know, as far as our affairs of love.
Yeah, we have a lot of sex. Keep trying to be modest. Our sex life is amazing. I mean, it's important to keep sex alive in the marriage. It's very, very important to keep that aspect alive, and you know, that the intimacy
True.
between, you know, us two, and you know, everything involving that.
Right.
So yeah, we make it a point to make sure that one of us or both of us feel loved from each other.
Always.
Always. So it's funny because you said We're both divorced, and that's the lines of our next topic, which is how does it feel to start over with our new marriage? Well, it's not too new. I feel like I've known you forever. I guess that kind of what makes it easy too is I'm in love with my best friend. I'm able to tell him anything and, talk to him, and he give me great advice, and listens and just give me the motivation and the strength to continue each and every day. So I'm very, very appreciative of him for that, for being a part of my life in such a huge way.
You gonna make me cry. Yeah, I feel the same way too. She is definitely my best friend, and for me, starting over is a lot different because we're, and I don't mind telling this now. For a long time, people looked at us funny. Some did, some didn't, especially men when I say this next part. But I happen to be, so we're 16 years apart. Let's just keep it real.
We are.
I know people who dealt with us business-wise couldn't tell, and I hope y'all don't stop dealing with us after you find this out. But I'm 45, and she's 30. I'm about to be 46. So for me, starting over was literally starting over. We had now she's 2, but she has 2 little ones. So I'm, raising 3 little ones all over again, when now I have 5 kids who are already pretty much grown. And it's funny because my middle son, me and him, we talk a lot. And he was actually staying with me at the time. And I was like, how would you feel if I dated someone that's a little younger than me? He was like, well, as long as they're not, exactly my age, I'm cool with that. So, I'm not trying to, do nothing like that. But she is a little younger than me, and so we hit it off. And the crazy thing is, I honestly didn't think she was her age, and she didn't think I was my age, because I don't look my age. All praises to the Creator.
No, he doesn't.
And even though she does look young, she didn't look that young, and she acts like someone my age or older. She's a very old soul. So that has a lot to do with why we kicked. I mean, come on. She walked outside talking about the Isley Brothers and Marvin Gaye. Who at her age was saying stuff like that and was like, woo, that's my jam. I'm thinking she's someone at least, around my age or 10 years younger, But at first it felt weird, but it's beautiful because, we know each other. Like she said, I really feel like I've known her my entire life, and the relationship is fun. You see, we're laughing and joking about this thing. We literally talk to each other about any and everything. There's no holds barred. We talk about our prior sex lives before our relationship, and I think it's healthy to talk about stuff like that, because that's stuff that you did in the past. It has nothing to do with what you're doing now.
Right.
So I think it's beautiful, because if you have to hold something back from the person that you're in love with, the person that you're married with, or even just dating and hoping to get married, you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's our take on it. But starting over was a little rough for me, definitely, transitioning to dealing with younger kids again, because I was dealing with my older kids, and I kind of got into that drill sergeant mode. Mm-hmm. So here I am dealing with, at the time when Jemiah was like 4 or 5 years old,
yeah,
and I'm having to realize this is a 4-year-old. You can't talk to her like, get your butt up, what are you doing? And so I just had to, get myself back in order. But it worked. I love the girls. They love me. And
oh yeah, they adore you. Love is an understatement. They don't even see me anymore. They be like, Daddy.
Right.
Like, I want Daddy. Mommy is mommy. I'm called when something is needed to be done. doing mommy duty, somebody's sick or whatever. But yeah, they are huge daddy's girls.
I gotta talk about it. So when we first got together, and I like being that we stayed so far apart, we were literally seeing each other quarterly, seasonally, if you will.
Yeah.
So like every 3 months or so, we would see each other. I'd come up there, or she'd come down to North Carolina. So the first time I came up there, and when we was at the funeral, I didn't meet now the 5-year-old Lily. I didn't meet Lily yet. So when I met her, very first time meeting her, so we go to take family pictures. And of course, I knew Jemiah, so we had already hit it off. Lily had never seen me. And normally when a child, any child, male or female, sees another person in their mother's life, or father's life for that matter, at the first time, it's not all happy, joy and all that. No. This little girl act like she knew me. So we're getting ready to take the picture, and when we're taking a picture, she wanted to get in my arms. And her mother was like, my baby was like, what? Okay, she never does that, but sure.
Right.
So she gets in my arms to take the picture, and if you look at the picture, you can literally see her holding on to the collar of my shirt and smiling. So the photographer was like, okay, we're going to try something different now. We're going to let the girls take a picture with their mother. So I'm like, okay, baby, go to your mother. And she was like,
Yeah.
And my baby was like, you don't want to come to me? She was like, And my baby kind of had this like real sad look on her face.
I got really sad. She did not want to take the picture with me. And she just met him. I was in my feelings. I was like, okay, you gonna just trade me off to, somebody that you just met. That's why we do it. That's how you doing your mama. So yeah, I was really in my feelings. I was hurt a little bit. But then I thought about how precious that is that she just met him, and it showed me how amazing of a person he is. If she just held on to him and still hasn't let go. She still has not let go. She loves him to death. Okay, to life. We don't want her to die. To life. She loves him to life. Yeah, but I was in my feelings about that. I was like, what in the world? And it's funny too. It was actually before we took the picture, we was staying in a hotel room. It was our daughter's birthday, and we were staying in a hotel room. And during that stay, the girls was actually fighting over him. Like they was having a whole brawl out over who got to sit in his lap, and who got to be around him. It was just hilarious how they was acting. I was like, you both just met him, really?
Lily was like 1, 2 at the time, and she literally, like, Jemiah tries to get in my lap, and Lily literally crawls her little butt over there and grabs her bigger sister and drags her back down to the floor and was like,
Yep. That's literally what happened. Well, I would say, for me, how did it feel to start over? I would say it was scary. It was scary. My divorce was fresh. It was fresher than his divorce. So it was very fresh. I think I was when I met him, I was still getting the divorce. And so, but we was separated. We wasn't working out during the time I met him, so we wasn't together at all. And so, I mean, this marriage was even long, though. It was like 6 months. That's a whole nother story. It was 6 months. And so, during the time we was dating, my divorce got finalized. And so I was able to, take it more seriously. And I had fear because, like he said, he was Muslim and I was a Christian. And being, raised in a Christian household, my mom is a licensed minister, or ordained minister rather, and I was taught my whole life pretty much that I should marry Christian and, unequally yoked and that whole thing, that whole spiel. And so I was scared because I was like, okay, God, is this for me? But the whole time, God was like, yeah, that's for you. I sent him for you. And I broke up with him like 3-4 times. How many times? I broke up with you 3 times? 4. I broke up with him 4 times out of this fear because I was like, it's not gonna work, or I just felt that he was too good to be true, to be perfectly honest, because he was just amazing in my life. He was always positive. He always, I think, you was the first to say you love me, or was I the first to say I love you?
I believe I was the first, because you really didn't know how you felt yet.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew, but you was just kind of nervous and about saying it, and you wanted to make sure that it was right, because you had 2 little ones, so you just wanted to make sure that you had the right person in their life, and I totally understood that. So, but I mean,
that's
me,
true.
when I know. So I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna waste no time with this. And just like she said too, I felt like I said before, that it was ordained. So, I mean, come on, how you going to go against the Creator? If something's really ordained, if you really feel in your heart of hearts that something's ordained, then why would you go against it? You know what I'm saying? So it was like, all right, the heck with this. If this isn't ordained, then I'm just crazy and I'm listening to voices in my head. So, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, we're still here. I have no plans of leaving. She has no plans of leaving. So,
Right.
But starting over for both of us, I gotta say it was different. And not even on the level of the children, just the fact that dealing with someone new, someone that because again, we were only together for a year and then we got married. You know what I'm saying? So dealing with someone for a year, you still don't know everything about this person. They don't know everything about you, and so you're still learning that person. I mean, we're still learning each other now. But I think people need to understand that even if you've known somebody for 4 or 5 years or 2 years and then y'all get married, how much do you really know about that person? I mean, there's been mad stories of, women who were married to a man or men that were married to a woman and she had more than one husband or he had more than one wife. Don't know how they pulled that off, but it's happened before. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? All types of things. Or they had another life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he could have been a murderer or something. You know what I mean? So there's a lot that you don't still know about a person. So we both took a huge gamble in doing this to make sure that we knew what we wanted to do. So, like I said, we're here. We're still together. Starting over was different. It was fun. For me, honestly, it was fun.
It was fun. It was like 2 teenagers up all night on the phone. We had phone dates.
Black Families Rising will return right after this commercial break.
Yeah, let's talk about that though. Let's kind of, I know, because some people are in long distance relationships, mm-hmm. and probably would want to know how did we make it work. And, is it something that can work? Because it's a high, concern about dating long distance, that, trusting that person and, making sure that it's real, because it is a big step. You don't really get to see them every day, and you don't really, get to witness their actions and all of that good stuff before you make it official. So how would you...
I mean, we literally had phone dates. You know what I'm saying? We celebrated we had monthly anniversaries.
We did.
Where we would just literally, like, okay, I don't know what she did at the house, but when we had these little phone dates that we scheduled, I literally would, light incense and candles. We would play, slow love music and whatnot. I mean, we played the hell out of a couple of forevers. You know what I'm saying? But we we fell in love with Tank too, by the way, at the same time.
Oh yes.
But like
I turned you on the tank.
we made the best of it to be so far apart. We really did. We was constantly talking to each other. You know, when we first met too, that's something I left out. When we first met, you know, one of the first things I said to her when we got so close to where we was actually holding each other, you know, because I didn't know what was going on. I looked at her and I was like, "Can we pray about this?"
Yes.
And that's one of the things she told me that kind of made her want to be with me. It was like, who does that? So
that's how I knew it was from God.
So we kept that going. You know, I was like, you know, my mother always told me, you know, the way you get her is how you keep her. So, you know, I didn't want to break that tradition, so we would pray a lot on the phone, and you know, like I said, listen to songs. We ate dinner together on the phone. She was eating what she was eating, I was eating, but we had dinner, like a candlelight dinner.
Yes, we did.
Where we actually were on Facebook Messenger having this candlelight dinner. It was so funny, but it was cool. I mean, as spontaneous as we are together, we was just as spontaneous apart. And just being honest with each other and, you know, showing accountability. And I showing that we were both able to listen and learn from each other even then, you know. So when we did get to see each other, you know, of course it's different going to a different state around different people that you have no idea who they are, different foods, different climate, different everything. So it's you know, it's something to get used to. But we made a decision, you know, to do that. We could have said, nah, we'll just talk, we'll just be friends, but we made the decision to try and make it work, and it worked out for the better. And years later, we have a baby, which brings us to the next subject. Toddler life.
Toddler life.
Because she is now a toddler. Oh, I still think she's a midget. I really think they did some weird experiment on my wife, and we have a midget. I think we have a full-grown midget in the house. I ask her every day, where's her car keys, where she's keeping the car. And she literally looks at me and says, what car? But, oh man.
She's just very, very smart. She's very intelligent. She's very outgoing. She's an old soul as well. She loves music. Anything with a beat, she is jamming to it.
What was her first song?
Which one?
The Trolls.
Oh yeah, she loved the Trolls soundtrack.
Trolls 2, yeah. Let Me Hear You Sing.
Yeah. She loves the Trolls soundtrack, and then she got into all the other shows she used to watch. But the funny thing was when she was born, she was like 6 months or so, you know, she was watching the news at 6 o'clock in the morning, every morning. That's why I said she's an old soul, because ain't no other baby up at 6 o'clock every morning.
Every morning like clockwork.
To watch the news. And she was quiet. Like, her routine was she'd get up at that time. We would make her bottle, and we better turn on those news, or she'll look at us crazy, or she'll cry.
Yep. I think she was in love with the newscaster because he had a real deep voice. And there was this one lady, too, that she just liked hearing. I don't know. But she would literally, you know, at the time you was working in the morning and I was staying home. I made a decision to stay home with the kids because I wanted her to have time to get out, you know. And then it was like the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah. No, the pandemic didn't really even start yet. It started the next year. Because I was, we had her in 2019.
Right.
So I went back to work in October. And, and so the pandemic started that following year, about March or so. And
when we found out about it.
When we found out about it, it was February or March. But we know it was already, you know, going around. It was already spreading at that time.
And so I was the one up with her most of the time. You know, I get up to say my first prayer or whatever. And so she would, like she said, she would wake up at clockwork, 5:30, 6 o'clock. And she couldn't talk at the time, of course. But when I was giving her milk, I'd put her in her little walker, and she would, you know what I'm saying, walk to the TV and point. And I'd be like, you want to watch the news? And she would look at me and smile. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It was the first time I think I like left the TV on and the news was just on. And when I woke up and looked, and she was in her little crib and she was just looking at the news. And so after then, she was hooked. So like she said, she would get up, crack of dawn, watch the news, and doze off like an old person with her milk bottle, watching the news. Yes. That's when we knew we were in trouble. We knew we were in trouble before then.
We did. When she was in the womb, you want to tell the womb story?
Oh man!
During the time I was giving birth, I don't even want to tell it because that was a rough time for me. Giving birth to her, she didn't want to come out, and so
first she tried to come out too early.
Right, first she tried to come too early, and I had to be hospitalized for that and put on medication, and then, and then I had to get an insert to keep her in, and so. When it was time for her to come, she didn't want to come, so I had to get what was it called? They had to induce my labor.
Mm-hmm.
They had to induce me, and so when they induced me, I'm pushing, like those that gave birth know. I've been around someone who was giving birth knows. So I'm pushing and pushing, and she's not coming out. So my doctor told me to rest. And when I rest, and I was just sitting there, getting my breath together, getting my mind ready for these next pushes, because she was almost out, but she was not coming completely out.
Right.
Right. So it was extremely painful because this was natural, and all my kids are natural, but this was a natural birth, little to no medication. Okay. I'm in extreme pain at this time. So at the time, I don't know who touched my stomach first. Was it the doctor or the
doctor? He told her to rest, and when she rested, he still had his hands, at the beginning of the vagina, trying to get the baby out, and he was like, "Oh, she pushed me back." And of course, everybody look at him like, okay, he's crazy. So he told the nurses, it was a black nurse and a white nurse in there. He told them to both touch her stomach, and literally when they did, she pushed both of their hands away, and they were like, "Oh my God!" And so the white lady, which was older, the older nurse, she looked at my wife and she said, "Honey, you gonna have something on your hands."
Yeah, she did.
So and we knew when she was carrying her, every time they would do the ultrasound, and put the little jelly stuff and whatnot on her stomach, she didn't want it up there. Like he barely got to hear her heartbeat or anything. We knew she was there, but she would like be still or whatever it is, or move away from it so she couldn't be seen or heard. So we barely got any ultrasound pictures because she did not want to be seen. But the few times he did get her, she would push, like you could see her pushing in my wife's stomach. It was crazy. And now with her being a toddler, it's amazing watching her grow. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was with her a lot while my wife was working, so I got to see a lot of her first snow. We both got to see her first steps, like when she 1 year birthday, first turned 1, she took her first steps, and we along with her mother, we got to see that, and that was great. You know what I'm saying? Watching her eat her first piece of cake, her first birthday party. We got a lot of good moments, and now we're homeschooling, so we get to see her growing, her learning. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? She knew her ABCs and how to count. Like, what? As soon as she turned 1, pretty much?
Yes, as soon as she turned 1. She knew her ABCs, and she knew how to count. She was also eating. She loves to eat. She loves food.
She does.
Oh my God.
She watches us cook. She'll bring us seasonings when we're cooking. The first thing she ever ate, she was about 6 months old. Mm-hmm. And we had watermelon, and she saw it. And she was just looking, and I was like, I'm gonna give her a piece just to see what she could do. And she got it, and she ate it, and didn't throw it up or anything. Like swallowed it. I'm like, okay, it was a real little piece, but she ate that, and then she crawls over to me and was like, I'm like, oh, you want some more? So I ended up feeding her a little more watermelon, and my wife was like, baby, why are you doing that? But I did, and the next thing she ate was zucchini and squash, which we eat a lot of in this house.
Yes.
So that was the next thing that she ate. She still likes it. She doesn't really like the zucchinis, but she loves the squash still.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it is fun watching her grow. She loves her cocoa melon and she loves her Akili.
Yes. she loves Akili.
She sings all the songs from Akili. She loves it. And we're teaching her and the girls Spanish and Yoruba. So to hear a 2-year-old learning to speak another language, if you haven't done it with your child, if they're young, you need to. It's amazing. I mean, you don't know how life is going to be once we're not here. So they need to learn all they can. But just the joy of watching it, man, it's amazing. It really is. So watching her grow, watching her learn and become this awesome little person is great. But there are days she drives us completely insane.
Oh, yes. Yep. Some days I'm just like, why? Why did we choose this? We chose this for us. Why?
But we do enjoy it. We definitely enjoy it.
We do enjoy it. So I guess we can get into running our businesses. That's our next subject, is talking about how we run our businesses. And with our kids, with how we juggle it all. Raising kids, homeschooling, having other jobs, and running our businesses on top of that, and still keeping our marriage fresh and loved, and all that good stuff. So what would you say about that, babe?
Well, for one, we make we have a goal list, and we have a daily list that we make. That definitely helps because it keeps us grounded. We know what we're going to do. And if we don't finish the list, we don't beat each other up about it. I used to. I'm not going to lie. I'm very hard on myself when it comes to how we do business and stuff. But I had to learn. I mean, she talked to me a lot, and she's right. We can't beat ourselves up because, like she just said, I mean, we got 3 little girls here. You know what I'm saying? And 2 cats.
Yes.
And so we have a lot going on between our businesses. I still work part-time along with my personal trainer business and whatnot. And she's, in training for what she's doing. And so, but at the time, a few months ago, we were both working. So we basically just had to make our little list, you know what I'm saying, and adhere to that, work at the best of our ability. Take turns, you know what I'm saying? I like with the podcast, I do the editing and whatnot and the promoting. She does too, but there's certain things that all the typing and paperwork and stuff, I'm terrible at that. So she does that stuff.
Yeah.
But even some of that, I told her to teach me so I can take the load off of her and vice versa. So we kind of like switch roles, you know what I'm saying, and learn to multitask. We're cross-training.
Yes, we cross-train with one another.
We cross-train each other, and we take our turns. 1 minute I might be the one doing all the lessons with the girls that day, and then if I'm working part-time or whatever, I'm busy with the podcast or networking with other people, then she does. So I think, I believe that's what makes it work for us, is that we share the load.
We do. We make sure, and if one of us is not up to par, if we're not, feeling at our best, one of us will take up the slack for the other. That's one of the things that I love about our relationship is, we can understand each other, and we have the communication open to where if one of us is not feeling well, or if we're, not at our best, or we're not, mentally good at the time, one of us will just take over and take up that extra load until, the other person is feeling a little better.
Right.
And I appreciate that in this relationship because that's, I haven't had that in other relationships. So it's just amazing to have it in this one and to be able to experience that as well. So yeah, running our businesses is about keeping a schedule, as well as we're learning right now is to ask for help. So we ask for other people to help us, in ways that can take the load off of us as well. If there's, an area that they can pitch in to where we're not doing everything, because at first we was doing everything. We still kind of are, but we have that communication open where, people that we have met, developing our businesses and networking, that are now a part of our lives. Like, they're pretty much like family to us.
Right.
And, they are willing to step in to help us when we need to, when they're needed. So we do appreciate that as well. So
definitely.
I mean, we're doing that, running our businesses, on top of trying to keep up with life itself. Sometimes it gets depressing a little bit, and when we look at the world and things that's going on, because we're trying to raise our children the best way that we can, and making sure that they're able to experience the best out of life, and and not the craziness that we see that impacts us sometimes. So we have to give ourselves some self-care and make sure we're meditating, and Bay get up and do his exercises in the morning, and we'll do our affirmations, to keep us motivated. We write out new goals and, do things that we want to do, and plan out our year, and, and do things like that to keep us going, because, sometimes it does get a little bit of overwhelming. We both think about things a lot. We do overthink things sometimes. So, and we get stressed. I mean, it's a lot of things that we have. It's a lot of hats that we have to wear. We're parents, we're business owners, we're friends, we're, I'm a daughter, he has family, so we have work, and, just different things that we're doing. And sometimes it does become stressful, especially when you feel like you're not moving at the pace that you want to be moving at. And so, at that time, we try to really implement grounding ourselves by, meditation and prayer, and, different things, doing affirmations, and, different things like that, to make sure that we're not stressing ourselves out completely. But we don't have it together, and we're not perfect by any means. We're striving, to be the best that we could be, and we're constantly growing and learning with each other. And I'm grateful for that, we appreciate each other, and we allow each other to grow and learn. We're not too hard on each other. If one of us make a mistake, that's what it is. It's a mistake,
Because nobody's perfect.
Right. Nobody's perfect. So we're going to mess up, and we just push each other. I think that's the big factor. We do motivate each other to continue to, get up and do things and try it again.
Right.
And keep it pushing, And I think that's what it's about. Is, nothing's perfect. Nothing is going to look like anything else, because you're different. We're different. We're two different individuals, working together. So it's not going to look like what everybody else's, may look like, what everybody else's life may look like. And I think we just came to that realization, and we just, sticking with it at this point. So
yeah, that actually covered what our next topic was going to be, which was keeping up with life. So we don't even have to go any further into that. But I mean, for all the other people out there, whether you're married, whether you're dating, or you're dating with the option to marry. One big takeaway for me would be to definitely make sure that the person that you're talking to meets your interest. You know what I'm saying? If you're like a stickler for I'm not trying to say punishment. I wanted to say, with your children. You know what I'm saying? You're that type of parent that's very stern or whatever. Make sure you got someone that's stern too. You don't want somebody that, if you go to whoop the child, no, don't do that. I don't whoop children. You know what I'm saying? That's been a deal breaker for me in the past, because I will whoop a child if I have to. That's not something I want to do. I'd rather scare you to death first. You know what I'm saying? And I'm from the South. I'm from the old school. So, we did stuff differently. But I've learned a lot from her as well, with how to take care of children and whatnot, how to deal with them. So I would say that's, make sure that person meets your interest. You know what I'm saying? You should have a goal list as well, or who you want to meet. I know some people are like, why would you do that? I mean, because you don't want to end up with any and everybody. Don't sell yourself short. Don't put, your ideal person so high on a pedestal that it's hard to reach that goal of finding that person. Be realistic, but make sure that you do have a goal for who you want to meet. Don't just meet any other Tom, Dick, and Harry, Sally, Sue, or Mary Jane, and think you're going to have a great relationship. It's not going to work that way. It's not going to work that way. And also make sure that you listen to that person and that person listens to you. Like, there's times that she'll talk, I'll just shut the heck up. I'll just let her talk. I'll let her vent or whatever it is, and she'll do the same for me. So, those are my takeaways. And be honest with each other, whatever you do.
Yes, please be honest with each other. At first, don't be trying to, have this identity when y'all dating and then show the real you after y'all make it official. That's gonna probably scare them off. You want to be the real you, and you want somebody to love you for you and be authentic. And even if you're not, dating or, married, or if you're interested in dating or being married eventually, or having a life partner, because that's what's going on right now. Some people just choosing to just be with each other for the rest of their lives and not marry. And that's, to each his own. You love it, I love it, So if that's your case, then, you want to make sure that you work on yourself first. You want to take care of yourself and love yourself and get to know you.
That's right.
Because, you can't find somebody or expect somebody to love you or expect somebody to accept you when you don't accept yourself.
Absolutely.
And you don't love yourself. Or you don't even know who you are. So you have to learn you first and deal with your issues and your traumas. And heal yourself if you have, anything going on, any past hurts, growing pains, all that stuff, past traumas, before you meet that person, because you don't want to bring those issues and, those things into a new relationship. Because that's a whole burden for them to carry on top of trying to get to know you and, trying to make a relationship work,
Right.
And and meet a person that is doing the same. And I'm not saying that the person you meet is going to be perfect, because they're not. We all grow, or we all should be growing and learning each and every day. And even with our relationship, we still are learning things about each other, new things about each other, and and we're changing, and so we have to still date and get to know that person.
Right.
Get to know the person that we're growing into. So, and the same thing with taking care of ourselves and loving ourselves. We have to, still date ourselves to get to know the new us, because we're not the same people we were when we met each other.
That's right.
And that's the same that happens in relationships. And so you have to be open and mindful of the fact that people change, and you can't help that. You can't stop that. And just to be open with whoever you're going to be with, or whoever you choose to be with for the rest of your life, that they're going to change, and are you willing to love them through that as well?
Absolutely. I couldn't I don't have anything else to add on to that. She was preaching the whole sermon, right? I know some of y'all in the back like, preach, sister, hallelujah. So with that being said, we thank you guys for listening, man. We love you guys. We thank you for...
And ladies.
Yes,
guys
ladies. When I say guys, I'm talking to everybody, but we love everyone. Our kings and queens.
Because we are ladies.
Yes, our kings and queens. And the ladies. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all so much for following us, for, listening to us, vibing with us, man.
Supporting us.
We appreciate the love. We thank you guys. We're going to keep giving y'all more exciting episodes like this. This is one of our many other segments that we're going to be doing. We would love any comments, anything. So, go to our Facebook page, Black Families Rising. We have 2 pages there. We have a community page and a networking page. If you're a business, you want to be promoted, you know what I'm saying, you have something you're doing, you're a service or whatever, you want to be promoted, or you just want to join and be a member of Black Families Rising, hit us up. Check us out on Instagram as well. We're on TikTok. We're on Twitter. Black people Twitter. We're on fan base.
Yeah, millennium.
You know what I'm saying? So check us out, man. We trying to do this for our community, for our peoples. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the negative and positive things that go on, and not just shining light on the negative or the positive, man. We keep it real. So we love you guys. We thank you so much. Anything you want to say, babe?
No, same here. I mean, we love you all, ladies and gentlemen. And we thank you for, tuning in with us. And, we're looking forward to recording our next segment. I believe this was fun. So
yes, this was fun. I want to give a shout out to our sister, Portia Mystique Steele, and her husband in Nigeria. Also our sister Brianna, who is an excellent personal trainer in Thailand. Our brother Eric Goss, our brother Scott Harrell. I didn't say Harrell this time. Our brother Scott Harrell. Our brother One Al-Jabbar, who has an exciting music video out, by the way, now called The One. Check that thing out.
Yes.
He's with Pilgrim Records. You can go to Pilgrim Records and check it out. You can check him out on YouTube. Our sister Jamie McDonald with Thrifted by Jamie, and our brother Laquan Johnson with his podcast
Motivational
Motives. Sorry for messing it up, bro. And I just want to give a shout out to them people. We love you guys. Also our brother Andre Joseph. I'm mixing names together right now. Our brother Andre Joseph. We just want to show some love to you guys, man. We thank you guys for being a part of Black Families Rising and helping make us who we are.
And Kemar.
My brother
KJ and Russell.
Yep.
And many others. Sean, the Olympic trainer, we thank you.
Yep. My cuz. Also my cuz back home with his company, what is it, A1 Constructions or whatever, Antoine Humphrey. Our sister, Alaire Randall.
Yes.
And also want to give a shout out to our brother, Jason Radigan in Canada, and my brother G2,
yes,
the other grinder Spencer. So, peace and love to everyone. Keep striving, keep rising.
Be faithful to your wife, and if you lock down, Machiavelli, hold your head. If you lock down, Machiavelli, hold your head. The Don Illuminati, all through your body. Watch the word of God blast, 12K shot it. And if you lock down, Machiavelli, hold your head. If you lock down, Machiavelli, hold your head. Take care of them kids, never give up on them. Take care of them babies, let them know you love them. And if you lock down, Machiavelli, hold your head. If you lock down, Machiavelli, hold your head. If things don't go your way, it's a blessing in disguise. If things don't go your way, it's some blessings in the sky. Find a way to survive, cause they win when your soul dies. You can't own a child of God, we free in the mind. If you really got love for me, let me see what you got for me. Put all your hands on my eyes to see. Live a little life in the place to be. Now if you really got